Let's do some reaction videos. Patrick posted one. I was gonna watch it today. Well, I started today and I was like, hold up. Let me actually stream this. Because I'm a streamer now. So, alright.
One small comment.
Alright, Patrick CC. The backlash against Peter Dinklage is insane. Alright, new video. Let me turn this up. Make sure you guys can hear this. I forgot about this, bro. Bro looking ugly as hell right here.
After one small comment on a podcast, Peter Dinklage managed to piss off nearly every little person in Hollywood.
You, Peter Dinklage.
Oh, damn.
Piece of shit.
Are you watching, Dinklage? Do you know that you took work away from me?
Peter became one of the most respected actors of
You gotta be fucking... I'm not gonna say it.
His generation by refusing to let Hollywood reduce him to the stereotypical roles little people often get. But since he has reached the pinnacle of success in the industry, he may have forgotten just how many dwarf actors are still relying on those exact jobs to survive. Or maybe he is gatekeeping them to remain on top. Because what sounded like him standing up for his community actually may have resulted...
Oh shit. Stay Fluid is funny, bro. Yeah.
In Hollywood erasing little people from the screen entirely. It's so bad that it's being compared to by some little people as the quote physical version of blackface.
Hold up. What is this?
As an aspiring
the Oompa Loompas. Whoa.
Actor with achondroplasia, Dinklage was determined to avoid low-hanging fruit opportunities that might have helped.
What fucking style of haircut is this, dog? What the fuck? Like, people really thought that shit was the fucking style back in the day, huh? What is this, a mullet? Fucking... I don't even know, bro. I'm black. All I know is locks, braids, afros. I don't know what the fuck this is.
His career.
Well, it's like the 70s look or something, right? Y'all look at me fucking up. All right. Technical difficulties, guys. 1 second. I don't know what the fuck I just did. All right.
He said, I was in an office for quite some time,
Gotta
longer
bump
than
it
I
in
should
the
have
things.
been, but I was terrified of not being able to pay the bills. I was turning down acting roles, which weren't really acting roles, commercials and stuff like that, so I just stayed in this cubicle for a few years. Dinklage started out in a very common position that a lot of little people confront when aspiring to be actors. Most were traditionally cast for fantasy roles, which Dinklage found disgusting and cruel. Actors with dwarfism are relegated to being creatures. They're not really complex human beings, so I was not really interested in that. But ultimately, he knew his career wouldn't take off unless he made a few compromises. There were a number of films that he starred in where his dwarfism contributed to the role, but he wasn't being paraded around as a creature or prop. Instead, he was able to show more emotional depth, with dwarfism just being a part of the character. Like how he starred as a defeated actor in the dark meta-comedy Living in Oblivion with Steve Buscemi. Buscemi recommended him for a role in Alexander Rockwell's comedy 13 Moons when Dinklage couldn't find an agent, and it was with this exposure that Dinklage was able to show who he really was. Rockwell openly talked about how his first impressions disappeared the second he got to know him. You might come in with some luggage about Peter's physicality, Rockwell said. Right away, he cuts right through that. You're thinking, he's a dwarf, but Peter comes shining through as a personality beyond any kind of diminutive size issue. And pretty much anyone who met Dinklage felt the same way. He was wonderfully articulate and insightful, and clearly wanted to be...
Dinklage is just such a dwarf name, dog. Like, there's no one else named that's gonna be Dinklage that's not a dwarf.
Seen
I just had to say that, like,
as more than just a dwarf actor. At the same time, he didn't want his size to be the focus of every conversation, but when he did speak about little people in Hollywood, his approach was usually thoughtful rather than confrontational. He wasn't publicly attacking others or aggressively calling out studios by name. He simply believed the industry should slowly move beyond using dwarves as simple fantasy characters or visual gimmicks and start giving them the same depth and complexity as any other performer.
Not dangerous, but they're kind of, you know, they're creatures, they're ethereal beings, these dwarves. dwarves usually are, and then they're asexual, and they're either fools or they're very filled with wisdom and have know all the answers, but a bit removed.
Whoa.
No, they never get the princess. That's
Is he talking shit about other little people? What the hell? You can't be doing that shit, bro.
fine, but we're in the
You
modern-
are a little person.
we're in the modern day now, and I think if we
Like, if it was, if you're talking, you can't he's like trying to categorize himself as not a little person and talking shit about other little people. That's crazy.
still have that, I don't want to throw words like stereotypes out in this interview. I want to avoid that, but
You just
no,
did, you
it's a book
fucking
for
idiot.
itself, and-
Oh my
and-
god.
I see it in today's films and pieces of art. You know,
All right, let me be harsh.
No,
Let me
just
not be
things.
harsh, guys. I'm
In that
being a little
clip,
too
you
harsh.
can feel his hesitance, like he was walking a fine line, because in the back of his mind, he knew that these stereotypical roles also do give little people consistent jobs in the industry, which is important for them to be able to take to then one day be able to advance their careers. But before we get into that, let's say you're about to jump on a roller coaster and you need someone to watch your wallet, so you hand it to a pickpocket. That's not security, that's a donation. There's a reason you wouldn't trust a pickpocket with
All right.
Morgan & Morgan's. You deserve to be sharp. If you're a Patrick enthusiast named Finn McBride in Tom McCarthy's The Station Agent.
Hey, buddy, where's Snow White? Grumpy or sleepy over there, huh?
While having dwarfism,
I think
was
the
a
first
central-
time I remember him playing it in a role was what was that movie? Elf. Yeah, this little nigga was in Elf. He was the boss. I remember that. Yeah, with
Pointing
Will
out
Ferrell.
Peter
That shit was
Dinklage's
funny as hell.
character, he didn't mind because Finn had the depth he was looking for. The movie was pretty brilliant because it found a way to make you forget about his size until someone abusive confronted him with prejudice. You spent most of the hour and 30 minutes trying to figure out exactly how he felt. Often roles written for someone my size are a little flat. I love this about this character that Tom wrote. He has this stuff going on. He has romance. He's got romantic feelings. He's got anger, and he's got flaws. I'm not a spokesperson or an activist for people my size. I'm not going to get on my soapbox about that stuff. Comical movies starring dwarves such as Austin Powers films, because people can do what they want to do. Sure, it might perpetuate a stereotype, but I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I have a grand time at those movies. I was laughing my butt off at those movies, so I'm not going to cast my judgment upon it. For me personally, that's something I try and stay away from. That same year he starred in The Station Agent,
Yep,
Dinklage took
Elf.
another minor role in one of the most iconic Christmas movies
This is
of
the first.
21st
Yeah, that's the only
century.
time I think
Elf.
Elf
Every Christmas
and
season, little people in
Game of
Hollywood get the call
Thrones.
to play
Elf and Game of Thrones is the only movies I recognize him from.
Santa's helpers. But the movie Elf was different. The only actual dwarf who was cast in the film was Peter Dinklage, and he didn't play an elf, but rather as Miles Finch, a successful children's author. The short scene he's in is simple yet extremely
Bro, Miles Finch, like, that's not a little name. Miles Finch. What is up with these little last names, bro?
layered. Buddy,
Got Dinklage and you got Finch. It's just such a last.
the actual elf, who is 6'3", sees a short man and immediately assumes he must secretly be one of Santa's elves. Not a businessman, not a normal person, just a fantasy creature.
Does Santa know that you left the workshop?
You know, we're all laughing our heads off.
Did you have to borrow a reindeer to get down here?
Buddy not treating him like a regular guy represents the exact
That shit was
frustration
funny, bro.
Dinklage had spent years dealing with in real life. Also, Peter's character in and of itself seems like a protest against
Peter
the roles that
Wembanyama, bro.
Hollywood usually offers little people. Instead of playing the magical elf, Dinklage plays the man insulted by being mistaken for one. But they still did use his physical stature to make the scene funny. Finch hilariously runs across the table, which seemingly takes him forever, then whips Buddy's ass despite the obvious size disadvantage. And this balance is what made the role feel so representative of Dinklage himself. He never wanted to pretend his dwarfism didn't exist, he just didn't want it to be the only thing people saw when they looked at him. He would take that same approach with his character Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones, which launched Peter into mainstream success, making him a full-blown A-list
Bro, I thought that was a rock right here. Alright.
star.
I be noticing the weird shit in the videos that has nothing to do with the actual video. This dude looked like The Rock. It's funny.
When Dinklage found himself talking to the co-creator of Game of Thrones, David Benioff, he was extremely cautious about taking on a fantasy role, but David had actually met Peter at dinner parties and felt he was the obvious choice for Tyrion Lannister. He was always much friendlier to my wife Amanda than he was to me. I knew he was incredibly funny, incredibly smart, and had that caustic wit. Game of Thrones was a TV adaptation of a book written by George R.R. Martin. It was loosely based on the Wars of the Roses in Britain, with great houses and family rivalries that often led to unexpected
I've
death.
never gotten. I don't know about y'all. I've never got into Game of Thrones ever. I don't know. I don't even think I. No, I watched one episode, but Game of Thrones is not. I'm not with the medieval and the knights, and unless it's 300, that movie 300 with the Spartans. Yeah, I'm in there. But other than that, like I couldn't get into the Game of Thrones and shit.
Of the main characters. Peter Dinklage's character,
Yeah,
Tyrion,
I've never.
belonged to the wealthiest house, Lannister, but is usually shunned and mocked by everyone because of his dwarfism. He's also a drunk who relies on his intelligence to survive in a hostile world filled with dragons, monsters, and bloodthirsty kings. With dragons, monsters, and bloodthirsty
This is the king.
kings. All of this fit the emotionally complex
That's the
monsters
king,
and
bro.
bloodthirsty
Lord Farquaad, dog. This okay. We're skipping.
kings.
I don't need to roast everyone in this
All of
video.
this fit the emotionally complex kind of character Dinklage enjoyed playing, but he still felt like he had to make sure that they didn't make him into a joke. So in that meeting with Benioff and the other co-creator Dan Weiss, before anyone explained Game of Thrones or Tyrion Lannister to him, he made a simple request. No beard, no pointy shoes. Dwarves in these genres always have this look. My guard was up. Not even my guard, my metal fence. My barbed wire was up. Even Lord of the Rings had dwarf tossing jokes in it. It's like,
To be honest, what he said right now, I was not even thinking about that whatsoever. I was 100% not even thinking about every time I see a movie and there's a dwarf in it, they always have pointy shoes and a bit. If he never said this shit right here, I would have never even fucking
really? But he learned from
noticed at
Benioff
all.
and Weiss that Tyrion was a different kind of fantasy little person. He's somebody who turns that on its head. No beard, no pointy shoes, a romantic, real human being. It was clear that Peter was the perfect choice for Tyrion. He was witty and charming, but he also brought that underlying anger and resentment that he had explored so much in previous roles. Even off-screen, he seemed to take the part very seriously. When asked if he had read the books, he admitted that he'd only read the first in fear it would interfere with his performance in future seasons.
I don't want to know what happens to me down the road. I'm terrified, and I don't want to play any sort of ending when I'm doing this show. And I just live and breathe this show, and I'm so embarrassed when I have to. Why'd you have to?
But Dinklage initially believed that the potential
Was he actually mad or
success of Game of Thrones was too good to be true.
If something feels that good,
It's not.
bro aged like fucking 500 years? What the fuck?
it's not going to work. Nobody's going to buy this. In the first season, we didn't have any money, truly. I mean, it's all relative. We had some money. But even at the end, if you visit our base camp, our trailers were the same as they were in the first season. It was really, and I think that's what made the spirit of all of us come together so well. And the crew, we roughed
How
it
old
out.
is
You really
bro?
would never know.
What's his name? Peter Dinklage? Peter Dinklage. '57? June 11th, 1969. Huh. I guess that looks right.
Our salaries got higher as it went along, but the conditions were kind of great, like an indie movie almost. I mean, the sets were extraordinary, and the costumes were extraordinary. That didn't feel indie, but the vibe did, and I think that's what really But to answer your question, no, I was kind of cynical. Like, this is great. Nobody's going to go for it.
Over the next 4 seasons, his character became the fan favorite of the entire show, which was remarkable considering he lacked almost every traditional advantage fantasy protagonists usually rely on. He wasn't a great warrior, a handsome prince, or a powerful magician, but he
It's like
used his
114
intelligence to
regular
reach
people
high
use.
levels of power.
So the one man I did kill.
This is
early on
roasting
in the
him this
show
whole
was about
video,
a
y'all.
70-year-old amputee,
All right,
so
let me refresh
that's
this
not
chat.
very heroic.
He's just over here roasting his ass.
Shooting your father on the toilet, again, not very heroic. And somehow people still like the character, so.
Peter Dinklage made Tyrion so believable and human that when fans began criticizing the show's writing near season 8, they blamed the writers instead of Dinklage for how the character devolved. Regardless of the way the show eventually ended, which many felt was terrible, Dinklage had finally gained the respect of Hollywood on a massive scale. He received 7 major awards, including an Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series, and with an estimated $25 million net worth and worldwide recognition,
That's hella
all
good.
the gates of Hollywood opened for Peter in a way that they never had for dwarves in the past. He was basically able to handpick any career opportunity he wanted, hosting Saturday Night Live, playing Bolivar Trask in the X-Men franchise, voice acting in the Angry Birds movie, or acting as Eitri in Avengers Infinity
I
War.
remember. Yeah, that's the other movie. I remember him. Yeah, I remember him in that Avengers movie.
Now, if Peter wanted to act as a dwarf, it was a choice. I feel really lucky, although I hate that word, lucky. It cheapens a lot of hard work. Living in Brooklyn in an apartment without any heat and paying for dinner at the bodega with dimes, I don't think I felt myself lucky back then. Doing plays for $50 and trying to be true to myself as an artist and turning down commercials where they wanted a leprechaun, saying I was lucky negates the hard work I put in and spits on the guy who's freezing his ass off back in Brooklyn. So I won't say I'm lucky. I'm fortunate enough to find or attract very talented people. For some reason I found them and they found me. Unfortunately, Peter Dinklage didn't
that was a statement. Bro came out the mud.
understand that his voice now carried a ton of weight in industry decisions. He had the kind of star power that can get people fired and even cause the production to stop if the vision didn't fit exactly what he wanted. While it seemed like Dinklage used to be a lot more careful with his words, he probably didn't feel like he needed to do that anymore. And his comments on the Mark Maron show would harm opportunities for the community he tried to uplift for so long. And it all started with the disaster that was the remake of a Walt Disney classic, Snow White.
I don't think I've ever seen this movie, Snow White.
7 Dwarves.
No, well, I've seen the original and I just never seen this version. I don't think I ever seen this version.
In 2021, Disney
Was
started...
that a Latina Snow White?
And it all started with the disaster that was the remake of a Walt Disney classic, Snow White and the
Looks like
7
a-
Dwarves.
looks like
In
she could be
2021,
Latina.
Disney started casting for the main roles in a live-action remake of Snow White.
Am I tripping?
But
Am I
before they
tripping?
even started filming, the entire decision was drowning in controversy. People were already resistant of live actions as a total cash grab, but the decision to cast Rachel Zegler for the main role received criticism for countless reasons. Some were racially driven, like questioning why a woman
Rachel
of
Zegler.
Latin
All
descent
right.
was playing a character.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He said it. He said it. Yeah. See, I'm correct. And I'm just fucking up again. Sorry, guys. I don't know what I'm doing in order to do that.
Whose skin is described as the fairest of them all. Others were critical of her open hatred for the original story and desire to change it into something modern, but most people just simply thought she was annoying.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
But then Peter Dinklage unexpectedly became a part of the
Hella weird.
controversy when the media pulled a soundbite from comedian Mark Maron's WTF podcast. Peter criticized Disney for celebrating the casting of Rachel Zegler while refusing to acknowledge that the story itself could be insensitive towards little people.
Literally no offense to anything, but I was a little taken back by the they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow
Still
White.
Snow White,
and
yeah.
7 Dwarfs.
Sure.
So, look, take a step back and look at what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I know. That makes no sense to me.
But so what?
You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the you doing, man? Have I done nothing to advance the cause?
Now, for anyone unfamiliar with the story,
I mean, Yeah, I can see where he's coming from, but don't be mad at her. She's just a fucking actor. You
Snow
know?
White, the dwarves do not live in a cave. They work in a mine, but actually live together in a small cottage where
Yeah, and live in a cave. What the fuck?
they take Snow White in after she escapes the evil queen, making them quite literally the heroes of the story. Also, what's interesting about this is Peter says,
It seems like this nigga never liked the movie Snow White, and because they made the movie a live action, he was finally, I don't know, I feel like his flaws are showing.
I done nothing to advance the cause, implying that his success as a
Yeah,
serious
he's just
actor,
this dude just never liked, probably just never liked the movie Snow White.
as well as speaking on behalf of little people, should have gotten through to Hollywood that casting dwarves in fantasy roles is insensitive. But then a minute later, he also questions if a dwarf community even exists, and if it does, then he is not the voice of it.
The dwarf community is tired of this.
Is there one? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing, right? In order to seek representation, you have to have a community movement, which also is the heart of what becomes the issue of wokeness.
But it's such a minority.
I know.
And I'm not affiliated with any groups or anything, but it's such a minority that it causes a real, like, well, who the f cares? You know, and it's entertainment. I mean, entertainment.
Right, but I think that's also what I'm talking about, is that there's a movement on behalf of, like, anti-wokeness to get us back to who the f cares.
My bad, guys. I'm just
that
skipping
you
through
stand up
this.
for your community. It's not your responsibility, and
Right.
it may be relative. I don't know if would you even consider it marginalized or just not even acknowledged? You know, other than some, you know, what to call people.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
But given that tensions were already so high surrounding this movie, Peter Dinklage's comments went mega viral, to the point where mainstream outlets like Fox News were reporting on it. As a result, Disney responded by changing the entire direction for the film. We are
See, that's the thing. That's the only thing. When you start, you know, stating your own opinions, and you know, it's okay. You can state your own opinions, but once you start doing that against Disney, like, you just gotta be careful, man, because Disney, like, I'm pretty sure what Disney is like one of the main corporations, bro. If not one of the, like, they are the main corporations. Like, I feel, don't they own like ESPN and all these other things, right? Am I tripping? Hold up. I'm pretty sure Disney owns a lot of multiple things. Owns a vast media entertainment. Okay. Yeah. Walt Disney Studios, Marvel Studios, Lucasfilm, 20th Century Studios, acquired from Fox. ABC. Yeah, I mean, look at all this. Like, yeah, it's like if you go up against Disney, bro, like, good luck.
taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. They said in a statement, "We look forward to sharing more as the film heads into production after a lengthy development period." Disney responding and changing the entire direction of their film just because Peter Dinklage wasn't happy is truly representative of how powerful he was in Hollywood, but nobody expected how
I'm wrong. I'm mistakenly wrong.
badly Disney would botch their second attempt at not offending anyone. They decided to replace the dwarves with what they called magical creatures, which were basically a group of 7 people in goofy outfits
Magical
with no defining
creatures?
characteristics.
The fuck?
Now they're remaking the movie. They just got rid of the dwarves.
Ah, okay.
Okay, but what do they call them?
Why
now,
would they
too?
get rid of the dwarves though? Special
No, magical creatures.
But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. If
But
we're
that's
looking,
also more offensive to the dwarf community than like
so
calling
if we're
them
looking
dwarves.
at updating
Magical
stories and
creatures.
everything, you actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group. You just erased that whole image.
The magical creatures change backfired so hard that Disney backpedaled again. Only this time they decided to go with horrible looking CGI dwarves that would be supported by a cast of voice actors. And only one of the 7 dwarves,
God.
Grumpy to be specific, was voiced by an actual little person.
It's a bad thing. I'm not agreeing with.
And when they got Wee Man, they have to they have to come out here and interview Wee Man, bro. Like, that's how you know it's all bad. You know, Wee Man don't give a fuck. Yeah, what is the right answer though? I mean, All I know is that Jackass, the new Jackass is coming out soon, so.
One, because what they're doing is pretty much you're replacing jobs that people could have as little people.
True.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it's 4 dwarfs.
Yeah.
It seemed like Peter Dinklage was.
I'm telling you, this dude just got his feelings hurt, and he never really liked that movie for some reason. Or bro's just. All right, let me pass that.
Defend little people. He actually ended up receiving a lot of criticism from the dwarf community, with many believing that he single-handedly robbed a demographic of potential jobs. The first to call Peter out publicly was WWE wrestler Hornswoggle.
I mean, my biggest thing is
Hornswoggle.
He wants to be progressive, and it's all about progression, and I support that.
Hornswoggle, that is a crazy name.
But the issue is him being progressive is eliminating 7 potential dream jobs from the dwarf acting community, and that's my issue here. Is he's saying he wants to move forward and do good for the community when these are dream jobs. I got hired by WWE. WWE was my dream job since I was 4 years old. Since I was 4 years old, all I wanted to be was a WWE superstar, and in any other circumstance, it wouldn't have been able to be done by me. I'm not 6 foot, I'm not 250 pounds, but they were looking for a person like me, a little person, to fill this role.
And although he was much more articulate and nuanced on Fox News, years later he was much more blunt and direct about his feelings towards Peter.
I feel like you're one of the most recognizable little people on the planet.
You, Peter Dinklage.
Damn, shots.
That's real heat too.
I hate him.
Damn. You don't hate him. You can't hate him that much.
Did so many people in my community had jobs with that Snow White bullshit. Pisses me off. He wanted to make a statement, and he thought he was making some cool, hip thing. But it wasn't. When he did Elf, that check cashed just fine. Tyrion Lannister was a role for a little person. He
Who was this? Mashed potatoes and shower
for all those years. Like,
yeah. What video you want me to react to, bro? Just type it in.
I'm okay not going out for Brad Pitt's role. Give me grumpy or happy or sleepy.
I don't trust links, man. You gotta hold up.
Yeah, come on. And then you're gonna have 7 dwarves. Then they're extras, then they're stunt doubles that are all going to get paid.
Comedian Brad Williams has also been open about how he feels towards Dinklage's comments.
It was Dinklage, and then he kicked a lot of us out of a movie. So now it's me.
And while Brad likes to be silly when talking about this, since he's a comedian, he is serious about how he feels about Peter Dinklage.
I tell you what I would have played. What? I would have played a dwarf in the live-action Snow White movie, but then they took out the dwarf. Thanks, Dinklage.
Yeah, all right.
Are you watching?
I got you. Mashed potatoes and shower. I got you.
I
got you after this.
Work away from me and my 6-year-old dwarf daughter. You took money and food out of my 6-year-old daughter's mouth. Thanks, Dink. All right, sorry. That's the yak talking.
Did you really get upset?
Yeah. Legit upset.
But some little people in Hollywood, like Lee Gill, were not as harsh towards Dinklage. He felt that his heart was in the right place, but maybe wasn't as clear with his
fast forward
criticism.
this a little
Lee
bit.
felt that it was just the story that should be updated.
But I think it should kind of just be seen as a great opportunity to update it. And if you think about it, the 7 dwarfs are kind of the heroes of that tale. And if you give all 7 of them some real depth and a bit more of an important part in the film, that's 7 great.
Peter Dinklage wanted all the glory. Others just straight up called him a hypocrite. Peter Dinklage, little people shouldn't play fantasy dwarves. It's offensive. Also, Peter Dinklage, Mark Pavanelli, who he
all the
received.
other little people
and of
are mad
course,
at him.
He still has no trouble getting consistent work. Earlier criticism towards Hollywood was subtle. He simply wanted to be viewed as an actor. We're ever going to get a response from him. There's literally no incentive for him to do.
All right, we get it. That story was whatever. I'm gonna react to this other video in the chat. Mashed potatoes and shower. That's a funny name, dog.